Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I'm 12 Kyle. Check this out. The other day I was on Twitter and, just getting my tweets off and checking out what people were talking about. And my homegirl, Jamie, shout out to Jamie. She's listening. I know she does listen to this podcast. But she asked me a question. She said, do your kids know or watch the classic Saturday morning cartoons? And I responded that they didn't, because this generation is truly, truly missing out on what it's supposed to be as far as Saturday mornings and cartoons and things of that nature. And it got me to thinking about just how life was and what we did, myself in particular, how I handled Saturdays. There were things that we did other than just watch cartoons. Now, of course, cartoons was a big part of my childhood as far as in the 80s and then into the 90s. But Saturday mornings were different, especially in my house. One thing that we couldn't do was sleep in. The whole concept of sleeping in, I don't know what that is. Sleeping in is supposed to be, the perspective of it's Saturday, you don't have to go to school, so you don't have to get up as early. And that's supposed to be that. Well, in my house, that wasn't the case. My mom, she wasn't having that. And I mean, my dad either, but I lived with my parents until they got divorced when I was 13. But I don't remember, especially once I got to be a teenager, the idea of sleeping in, that wasn't happening, right? It just, sleep in for what? Your ass had to get up. And I mean, now she wasn't, my mom, we laugh about it even to this day, but while she wasn't the type to make you get up at the crack of dawn, some of my friends, they might get up, 10, 11 o'clock. They literally could stay up late, Friday nights and, get up at, 10, 11 o'clock and kind of get their day started. Particularly when I was a teenager, I don't recall ever sleeping past 8 o'clock. That just didn't happen. And if it did, it was rare, but it also prepared me kind of for life. So even now, I can't remember where I've ever quote unquote slept in, even as an adult. I'm always up early. So even if I'll give you an example. When I was single and a bachelor and I just moved here to Atlanta, I would go out on Friday nights, and me and my man Jay Fresh, we go party or whatever the case may be. And I might get in, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. You know what? I was up at 8 o'clock without fail. Yeah. The idea of just staying in the bed and sleeping half the day away or sleeping till 12 or 1 o'clock. Nah, that wasn't me. That shit wasn't happening in my house. So, my mom kind of prepared me for what I would do, I guess, for the rest of my life. So even now, I mean, I have no reason to be out 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning because I don't party like that anymore. But even if I did, I'd be up at 8 o'clock. It's just in me. But yeah, growing up, there was no such thing as sleeping in. I mean, like I said, we did more than watch cartoons, but Saturday mornings, you could not sleep in. That just was not going to fly. My mom was going to get your ass up and you was going to have to do something. And normally the something was chores. I didn't like doing chores, but I understood that it was necessary. I remember my my late Uncle Sonny used to always say, "Hey, we're not asking you to pay for the light bill, so earn your keep. You got to do something around this house." And while he said that, I didn't understand it then, especially now being married and having kids. I understand it now. Like you got to do something to maintain your crib and everything like that. So yeah, chores was something we had to do. Washing dishes. I hated washing dishes. I didn't really wash a lot of dishes in high school, to be honest. But when I did, I hated it. Like why do I have to stand here and wash these dishes? Why can't we get a dishwasher? I remember one time I asked my mom, I said, "Mom, can we get a dishwasher?" She said, "Oh yeah, we got one." And I said, when did we get a dishwasher? She said, "You can find a dishwasher." She said, "Go right around that corner and go into the first room and look in the mirror." She meant go in the bathroom. Meaning, you're the damn dishwasher. So, yeah, I wasn't a fan of washing dishes. I'm cool on it now, but I wasn't a fan. We had to clean the bathrooms too. We had a bathroom upstairs and we had a bathroom downstairs. And the bathroom upstairs I primarily used because it was right next to my room when I was in middle school and high school. And so, of course, I didn't do that type of chore when I was younger, but particularly when I got to middle school and high school, we had to clean the bathroom. So me and my brother and my cousin Eric. I'm still not a fan of cleaning bathrooms. I will clean my bathroom in my house now. Let my wife tell it I don't clean it enough, but we don't have no sloppy baths. I mean, she normally cleans it, but I will clean it. But I'm not a fan of cleaning bathrooms, but it's okay. Another chore. Raking the yard. Let me tell y'all something. I am a huge fan of fall. Fall is my favorite season. Fall is my favorite season for one, the temperatures change. It goes from being extremely hot to very comfortable, very mild. I grew up in South Carolina, so our falls are beautiful. But the thing about fall is the leaves fall off the damn tree. And we had we still do. We got a huge front yard back home. And at one point in time, up until I was probably like a junior in high school, we had mad trees in the front yard. And so I hated that. Raking the yard. I mean, like you literally, it would feel like you were out there all freaking day, man. I hated raking the leaves because you had to rake them up. And, back then, and again, I'm in South Carolina, so it wasn't intricate. We didn't have no no leaf blowers back then. This is 88. So you had to rake the leaves and then you put them in a pile and you had to burn them. And I'm like, aren't we like destroying the ozone layer or something? I was trying to say whatever I could to get out of raking leaves, but I hated raking leaves. What other chore? Oh, sweeping a driveway. We had a really long driveway. And again, we didn't have a blower. I don't know if they even existed I'm pretty sure they did. We just didn't have one. We probably should have had one. We got about 10 of them now, but you had to sweep the driveway, which I didn't really understand at the time because I'm like, why I got to sweep the driveway? It's only cars coming up and down the driveway. But, the thing is, if you have leaves, the leaves are going to blow into the driveway. You want to sweep the driveway and eliminate the leaves. I hated sweeping the driveway because that seemed to take forever too as well. Cutting the grass. I didn't mind cutting the grass. And it's crazy because like I cut the grass, but my kids have never cut my grass. Like, I cut the grass growing up at my home in Florence, South Carolina. But as an adult, when I bought my house, I think I might have cut my grass like 10 times maybe. And then after that, I was like, no, I'm going to pay somebody to do this shit. And the reason being is that, like, it took me forever to cut the grass. Like, even as an adult, it took me a long time to cut my yard front and back. And I was just like, no, I'm not doing this. Like, it's too much. Like, it's just way too much for me to try. So no, I didn't cut the grass. And I mean, I paid somebody, and I've been paying somebody every year to cut the grass. And he does a great job, my man, Garcia. But anyway, like I said, I hated it. Didn't like it at all, so whatever. And here's the thing. With our yard as a kid, nobody wanted to cut the grass when we had a push lawnmower. There was no such thing as self-propelled. We had a pushing lawnmower, right? And then somewhere around 89, I was probably like, I can't remember what grade I was in, but it was before I graduated high school. We graduated to the riding lawnmower. So like between me, my brother Damon, my cousin Eric, and that was it. So like none of us wanted to cut the grass when we had to push the lawnmower across the grass, right? We get a riding lawnmower, and everybody wants to cut the grass. Man, I looked outside one day. My damn aunt was out there cutting the grass. I was like, man, what the hell? But yeah, it's and obviously for time's sake. Now, fast forward to now. I mentioned I've had somebody cut my grass for the last 10, 15, what was this? 15, 16 years. But I think this year I'm going to get a lawnmower. I'm going to get a riding lawnmower, and it'll probably take me about 15 minutes to cut the grass, 15, 20 minutes. I'll do that. One, because, I said this year I'm going to do more in the yard, because I'm an outside type of guy. I really like being outside in the yard. I'm a country guy, country boy, if you will. But, yeah, I'm not, I think I'm going to do that. But even if I do that, now I still have to, teach my sons, which, 2 of them are out of the house in college, and our youngest son is a freshman in high school. He's going to have to learn how to cut the grass by himself, so I'm going to have to make sure I get out there and show him how to do it and everything like that. Just so he'll know, okay. This next chore. I know everybody can't relate. Cleaning the pool. Okay, so we have a pool at my home back home in Florence, right? Shut up, King Germ. Shut up. I hear you talking right now. So we have a pool. It's dope having a pool, right? And the pool is, it's 8 feet deep, and it's there's a 3 feet part where most people go, and it's roped off. It's really nice. It's a nice pool, right? But cleaning the pool is the worst chore ever. You have to not only clean the pool, you got to make sure that, anytime leaves and stuff fall off the trees, and you got to go down there. So that means you actually have to get in the water to get and what if it's, if it's not as warm as you want it to be or whatever like that. Now, obviously, if it's wintertime, you're not getting in the water. There's a vacuum that we would use to, get the leaves up or whatever, underwater vacuum. But pool maintenance is not like what you want. It's actually really annoying. I mean, like, you have to make sure that the pH is balanced, to make sure people don't burn their eyes when they get in the water. The chlorine levels have to be a certain way. You got to make sure that the water is clear. It's like a lot of shit. Like, I know. First world problems, right? But I was very appreciative of having a pool, but nah, man, it's not. It ain't all what it was cracked. What you think it might be cracked up to be, right? But the dope part was having pool parties. I mean, I will say that we had more than a few pool parties. Those were always fun. But cleaning the pool, prepping the pool for a party, maintaining the pool once someone and got out, making sure people don't pee in the pool, all of that stuff, man. It's not, it's not what you want. And I mean, like I said, pool parties were always cool because, girls never wanted to get in. So sometimes you throw a girl in the 3 feet part, and she get mad, because girls don't want to get their hair wet and all kind of stuff like that. And I remember when we were in we must have been freshmen in high school. We had a pool party once, and there was a couple of girls that came and they weren't shaved and we were being fresh. And we was like, ooh, look at her. She's got hair coming out of her bikini. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, so that was, that's what we did on Saturdays, man. Just, the chore part. The chores, like I said, if I had to pick it down to one, cleaning the pool, which was probably the worst chore. What else did we do on Saturdays? Oh, for me, Saturdays were the day that I played Pop Warner football. As many of you know, or maybe you don't know, I played Little League football. I started playing when I was 8 years old, right? And I played all the way through high school and then to college at South Carolina State University. But yeah, Pop Warner football on Saturdays was dope, man. I remember when I first started playing, I started at 8 years old, right? And what happened was, for an 8-year-old, you had to meet certain weight requirements. And the weight requirement for an 8-year-old was 60 pounds. Well, here's the slight problem. At 8 years old, I was only 52 pounds. So my parents had to sign a waiver saying if I got hurt, they wouldn't try to sue the city or anything like that. So, but Pop Warner football was everything. I think, over the years of playing Pop Warner football, a lot of stuff changed, but it helped me, develop my love for the game and everything like that. And there's no way that I would have played high school football or college football, for that matter, if I had not started by playing Pop Warner football. And I'll be honest with y'all, I was pretty damn good. Good enough to, play high school football and, do some things in high school and earn an athletic scholarship. I mean, I was nice with it. I played wide receiver. My hands are nice. So I'm not bragging or anything, just being honest with y'all. But I remember, I hated losing. I really hated losing. And even to this day, I don't like to lose at nothing, right? But that competitiveness came really when I started playing Pop Warner football. And the way it's set up, or the way it was set up back then, is different now. But I guess the best way I can describe it, in my town, Florence, there's 3 main high schools. There's West Florence, there's South Florence, and then there's Wilson. I went to Wilson High School, right? And so the league was the Pop Warner League was kind of set up you played, at first, kids from all across the city of Florence could play, and they'd play on different teams or whatever like that. But by the time I got to, I want to say 5th grade, 6th grade, what they did was they split the leagues based on, where you were zoned to go to school. So, in essence, because I was zoned to go to Wilson, I would be playing with kids who were also zoned to go to Wilson. So, which was good because you got a chance to kind of get into the feeder system, if you will. And, the kids that, if you continue to matriculate as far as playing football, these would be the kids that you would be playing, middle school ball with and high school ball with. And so that was dope. But I really got tired of losing. I hated losing. And when we were playing, with all the kids from, all over the city, I didn't like it because, I remember one time, man, I came to the sideline and we were getting blown out 30-0. And I came to the sideline. I went to sit on the bench, and it was 2 kids sitting down and they were like, yeah, I'm going, fishing after the game. Oh, I'm going hunting after the game. And I'm looking at them like, man, we getting our damn heads blown in and y'all talking about going fishing and hunting after the game? Like, after that, I was like, man, I'm tired of this shit. Like, I hated it. And then soon after that, like I said, the league was split where you played with kids. And so I ended up playing with kids that I not only played with in high school, but kids that I knew, kids from my neighborhood, kids that I went to school with. So that made it a whole lot easier. But Pop Warner football was definitely dope back in the day. And the last thing I spent Saturdays doing, going to the mall. Florence isn't a big place. In fact, I'll have a podcast about that coming up. It's not a big place, man, but one of the things I used to love to do as a child was go to the mall. You heard the podcast about me going to the record store, but going to Magnolia Mall in Florence, South Carolina was always fun. We would go to the arcade. And in the arcade, it was interesting because, like, you literally could spend all day in the arcade. Like, hours. Countless hours. I mean, you would spend hours if you had money. Because after a while, just standing around watching people play ain't fun if you ain't got no money. But it was cool, man. It was cool. I loved going to the mall. And, like, I don't ever recall going to the mall with a bunch of money. But, if you got $20 and you get a bunch of quarters, I mean, honestly, you can play Space Invaders, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, all of that stuff. You could spend a couple of hours doing that, and battling with your boys and stuff. Those days were fun because, again, even though we had Atari and we had ColecoVision and Nintendo, what made that interesting was just being able to physically play an arcade game. And like I said, I just remember going to the mall with very little money, relatively speaking. Like, I never went to the mall as a kid, even in high school, I don't think I ever went to the mall with more than $50. $50 at the most. I mean, like, that's pushing it. And I spent so much time in the mall, like, I just learned how to be in the mall and not spend any money and anything. And another part of the mall was, like, for me was, they had an indoor Chick-fil-A. I love Chick-fil-A. So that would always be like my highlight. Like, I had to go to the arcade, I had to go to Chick-fil-A, and I had to go to the record store, a music store inside the mall. And that's what I did on Saturdays. I did my chores, Pop Warner football, and I went to the mall, and I couldn't sleep in. That's just pretty much how we lived back then. So, I just wanted to get on here and tell y'all about it, man. Saturday mornings are different. Hopefully, you guys have had some Saturday mornings that have been eventful. If so, after you hear this podcast, let me know what you did on Saturday mornings. That's going to do it for me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for checking out this edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast because from time to time, we will drop bonus episodes on Sundays. All of our episodes drop on Thursdays at midnight. That's going to do it for me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for checking out this edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I'm your boy, 12 Kyle. I'll catch you guys next time. 5,000.